This is a continuation of my stealth truck camper, I guess we'll start to call it, right? And it's winter now, getting cold, and I've been thinking of ways on how to heat this cab. So, options that exist, we have heated blankets. I do have a Jackery, so option. A lot of wattage draw, not really heating your whole area. Propane. There's those little screw-on ones that I could utilize with my gas bottles that I already have for cooking. But those have a lot of moisture and they can tip over. They're kind of just a hazard overall and they're not really efficient. You have to keep your windows cracked so you don't die. And you need a sealed alarm along with damp raid. Just a lot of steps. But that was the best option I had, and I was going to go with that until I looked into the RV forums and saw that people are using diesel heaters. So, there's the Jackery there. That wasn't in the last video, but long story short, let me show you that just real quick. Here's the front. We just go bada bing, move it forward, Jackery ready to go. And then I have this center console has a charging port. So while I'm moving, like driving long distances to get places, it could top off. And then also, soon, there'll be a video I'll make. We're gonna mount solar to the top. It'll be flush mount. So now that we have that, we can start adding amenities. Introducing the amenities. It's not staying here, of course, but let's grab it. I'm sure a lot of you know what these are, so I will skip the fancy dancy stuff and show you what my unique purpose is going to be. That's getting swapped out with a 12-volt fridge, so that's a little upgrade that I could use with the Jackery and solar. I'm not tapping into the truck electrical at all. I'd like to avoid it if possible, if it's not running. Just a game I don't care to play. Snacks, tools, kind of the same setup, but I'm considering, I think we're gonna pull these. We're gonna be keeping this shut. The heat will be piped through the bed, through the cab. These removed, there's gonna be a vent there. This is going to extend out to be a longer platform. Hear me out, right? This is closed. Oh no, we're gonna get exhaust fumes and intake and it's not gonna work and yada, 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 yada. I'm going to drill 2 holes for the intake and exhaust. Then I'm going to route my exhaust. You can't really, okay, you can see it a little bit. We're going to route it alongside. Basically, it exits kind of the same direction my exhaust does. Then the intake itself, I'm going to look for where the least dirty part of underneath the cab is and route it up somewhere. Because, you know, obviously while stationary, I'm not worried about dust, but it's the accumulation as I'm driving, so we'll figure that out as we get there. But here is a unique purpose for a totally stealth diesel heater. Now that the back piece is off, I think perfect spot to come in will be right here. So we're gonna do that, which means this seat will be completely removed and I will add on to some sort of platform storage thing. But I'm gonna keep this one, because why not? It's separate, I could use it if I need it, and then I could also just stow it up, and I could make the measurements around it, so why not? It can maybe even hold a screen. So, we got ideas. This bolt, that bolt, there's a Torx bolt here that connects these two together. And then on the back, there's 1, 2, and 3. But unfortunately, this whole entire seat has to come out to get this seat out because these brackets overlap and this one's on top. So here we are, just that one seat. Tons of room now. I don't know why I didn't do this sooner. It's kind of hard to commit to getting rid of your seat because then you got to find a place to store it. But unfortunately, I don't think I'm gonna be storing mine. I'm gonna be getting rid of it because I hate clutter. So we're gonna go right here. Let's make sure we're good to do that. One more note is It's double walled in some areas. See, double walled. This is all for structure. I'm gonna quick reference some diagrams to make sure that we are good to go through here. So let's look. This is not the best view in the world, but I can tell that we are clear. Nothing there. So parts I am using, this Vevor heater, a 12 volt 15 plus amp power cord to run. So I'm double fused on this part and this, which we'll have to see how the Jackery runs it. That's a whole nother thing. I have a 3.5-inch hole saw, a 2-inch hole saw. Reasons for these is because flex tubing right outside here turns its loop, goes straight through. This is 3-inch, this is 3.5. Give it a little bit of gap, and I'm also going to line the surrounding cut with some rubber. And then also this is what sticks through the cab itself. So all you're going to see is this just flat, flush vent, much like a vent at home. The exhaust, the intake, exhaust wrap, brackets and random screws. All of this came with the heater. The heater did come with a hose, but it was horrible. Please do yourself a favor if you're doing this and get an actual good, insulated, nice, actually, extending. And then I'm gonna do hand crank because in the future I'd like to put an AC unit on the other side and duct it the same way. And then carbon monoxide alarm. So if you're curious, just kind of a rough idea. You can pause and look at it. It's just something I drew up. Very, very basic. I'm not a professional, I'm just doing this for fun. And I haven't seen it on the internet, so let's go. So when thinking about this, the most difficult part would be placement in the back here. So that's why I'm starting from here. We'll begin by drilling the hole and then mounting. That way we don't run into a weird mounting to entry situation, because depending on the height at which this exits depends on how I run my ducting and cut my ducting and mount the heater itself. So this will be roughly where it goes. I'll just give myself a little marking here just so I kind of roughly know what's going on when I'm in the bed. So it's roughly going to shoot out right here. So that's perfect for where I want to mount it. So I'll have a very small 90-degree bend. And then I might utilize this existing grommet to run my wiring. And then in the future, like I said, the panels and then the battery will be in the cab itself. And I also need to drill 2 holes through the bed and figure that part out. So let's see if we clear that. Placement wise, we're on basically between the first 2 raised ribs right in front of that bed bolt. So let's locate the bed bolt. Let's get the flashlight, of course. Bed bolt is right here, right there. So right in front of it on that first little rib. Look at that, perfect little area. From here we'll do our bends, and I think it's just gonna work because look, the muffler's right there. The exhaust can basically run in parallel with it. And then, because I have limited length on the intake, we'll probably just have to plop it like in this, ooh, little cubby here might not be a bad idea. Let's just see how it goes. Now I'm gonna make a stencil for the mounting to where these holes are drilled, so I can drill the holes and then we'll mount after, but it's gonna be like really close, if not perfect. One other thing is that this fuel line, this heater did not come with. Upgrade it. It comes with a clear, very flimsy, or very stiff, based on some reviews that I read, line that is pure garbage. And also, I haven't done it yet, a water separator for the diesel. So I will be running anti-gel as well. Just a few tips, but I'll show you how I'm gonna do this little template. I measured the center points between these 2 outlets. marked them, and then did my 2-inch diameter, and then lined it up along the face of this and gave a rough estimation on these points, because once I have these routed is where I'll actually commit. So this is kind of like my rough boundary area, so as long as I just leave a little space, no biggie. Those are the important part. And here we are to replace that. Which way? Okay, this way. Nice. Instruction manual, little tray here, and box I'm assuming has the power cord supply. Maybe slightly heavier, but I'm shocked. And you don't lose a lot of room with the pump, so it's really, really cool. It just ties into the whole electrical system I'm already utilizing. So we'll be doing a 3.5 inch through here in the bed, but got these caps here that'll weatherproof it whenever I'm not using it, and same for the 2-inch hole saw for the exhaust ports in the bed. So hopefully it fits all nice and snug. I'm afraid these are too short. If that's the case, tons of options exist. So as long as the sizing is right, we're good. Hole saw kit, drill, battery. We're gonna go for here. 2 pieces. Luckily, they were pretty thin and pretty close, so I didn't even need to switch my drill bit out, wherever it is. That's the cap. So when it's not in use, I use the cap. And then there we are. So that's what it'll look like. The piece that goes here, obviously, will have a cut around. I'm gonna do, I think, like a double-sided tape kind of seal right there. And then on the back side, the hose will just attach. So far, beautiful. So we have double-sided tape, and then we'll press fit it right to here. For that, I put some paint there. Not gonna be pretty, doesn't really matter. I just want it to be primer bonding and not bare metal. So what's cool is that this pops off from that, but the way I'm gonna do it is I utilize some thick foam tape for my snack bin to keep it sealed. I had some extra, so now it has its own little foam cushion that sticks to the tacked paint before it fully cures. So more sealing, the better. To prevent it from spinning around, because I have the fins where I want them, taped it off, and we are through and connected. It is tight. Now I'm starting to drill those holes. Here we are. There is something right there, but I do have enough room to bend. And there's plenty down this way. So they're piped up. And then I just have them sitting on something so they don't fall out while I figure out the mounting, and then we'll bend and see where they end up. Probably the most difficult part I've ran into is attaching these hoses. So they're hose clamps. And I suggest upgrading at least your exhaust hose clamp if you're gonna be running one of these. So once these are on and tight, I'll just tip it forwards. So that should be sitting there. We'll get it straight and true, kind of how I think I'm gonna mount it, and then we're gonna go run the lines. Here is the rough idea. I'm gonna cut some length out of that. I just wanted to see it possible. We're gonna mount there and here, finalized once I run these bottom 2 lines. And there's plenty of clearance for them, so I'm happy. The exhaust I will run alongside the frame, and the muffler can mount to, there's already a little hole there. You just can't see it because it's a bright light. And then the intake shoots from over here. And then I already know I'm gonna get longer hose and feed it up the bedside there. So that'll work. Holes are marked. Here we are. It is mounted and very sturdy. The wiring, I'm gonna figure that out. I still need to do my solar panels. For now, I have this. So that's to be continued, but that is foreshadowing. I think that's gonna be how we do it. So at this point, we have a fully installed, sealed off heater on all ends. Holes are drilled, the hard part's over. Now I just gotta run my wiring, figure that part out. And then as I was talking about the exhaust, I'll use this bracket some shape or way. We have a muffler, and also we'll wrap it in this to make sure it's just safe. So I'd say that's complete. I just need to cut a hole conveniently right there. Look, factory even knew what we were doing. And then we have all this space opened up. Heater came with this one. I forgot about that, so it's not in the way of anything. And now it looks almost factory. And then I'll extend the wiring in from the panel, all that, to this. I'll run it off the Jackery. If this seems to become an issue, which I've read online, I will get an AC power supply and run it that way off of that same Jackery. What's also cool is we'll have to test this as a remote. So I can just be in here, hit the heat, and boom, we're good. Fully discreet. And we still have a seat. So here's everything back together. This fit perfectly, like perfectly. See that little lip? Barely fits into there, but they hold each other. So that's amazing. Now I want to put some sort of hinge on both of these and have like a flap that opens up and down to just extend this platform out. And hopefully those hinges will give it some sort of support. And then in the future, I think we're gonna ditch the bin and actually build a whole wooden structure now that we're expanding. So good things to come. And behind this, we have something pretty innovative, I think. Thanks for watching.